Hey everybody, Ren Carruthers here with your Future Stars forecast on a 2-year-old Tuesday. Big weekend of racing, in particular for the 2-year-olds at Saratoga, highlighted, of course, by the Grade 1 Spinaway. That is a win in your in for the Juvenile Fillies. And then on Sunday, we have the hopeful. So I had to bring in Mr. Ned Toffey to talk about one of the hopeful runners in TED NOFFEY. I can't get it tongue twisted here. As well as other Spendthrift runners that we're going to be seeing hopefully rise to the occasion. So, Ned, I guess we have to start with the Spinaway before we get to your namesake, since we already have a field set for that one. All right, so let's talk about, you have two runners going into this Saturday's Spinaway Stakes, one of which is Steer Clear. She was second on debut, owned in partnership with Mike Rapoli, so that's going to be fun.
Right. No, and look, I got to give Mike credit. This was his idea to take her to this race. She was originally entered for a maiden on Friday, probably a little more traditional approach, but this filly has really been impressive since her first start.
And I actually have the stretch of that right here.
Yeah. And she was very game, just got a little tired at the end. But I think the most important thing is how she's done since that start. And it seems like this race really, the light came on as a result of this race. And her training she's just been, very strong. Gallops are day in, day out are very strong. She's breezed really nicely. Different filly coming out of the race than she was going in. And so, I think at this point in a horse's career, to take that jump, even winning a maiden race, jumping straight into a Grade 1 is a big jump.
Yeah.
Running a really good second is obviously a little bigger jump. But at this point in a horse's career, being, Tommy Joe, she'll go in off of one very impressive win, but they've got the same number of races under their belt. So I think it's actually a pretty good call. And if she, if all she's got to do is get a piece, and we've got a Grade 1 placed filly on our hands, and who knows, she may do more than that. So I think a good, kind of an aggressive move, but I think a good move, and I'll give Mike credit on that call.
I would say so as well. I mean, just watching how she dug in there, showing that she's got a game edge to her. I think she got a lot of underbelly out of that race.
She did. I was up watching our horses train the other morning, and she went by, and I didn't even realize it was her.
Really?
She just looked like a different horse. And she's coming in. Coat looks great. Her condition looks great. Her energy looks great out on the track. So, fingers crossed there. But she's really come the right way.
Well, you always love to see that they're willing to duel, right? And so maybe she turns the tables here. The filly who did get to her there at the end, after she finally was like, okay, it's my first start, I might need a little breather on right here. Ornalaya, she actually is also entered in the Spinaway. We also have Mythical, who will be the likely morning line favorite. We don't have that morning line out just yet. 3 for 3 for Jorge Delgado, and coming off a win there in the Grade 3 Adirondack after having beaten the boys in the Tremont. But still, we're now stretching out to 7 furlongs. So when we look at, before I move on to Tommy Joe, I do want to mention with Steer Clear, something that I really kind of appreciate with that pedigree is that you've got juvenile winners top and bottom. I love that. You've got Street Sense as the sire. You've got Unbridled Song as the broodmare sire. And I believe this girl's a half sister to 4 Left, who's multiple graded stakes plays, right? And he won the Tremont.
Right. This is we actually bought her last year at the Saratoga sale as a yearling with Mike, and she's really really a very nice physical. So yeah, you combine all of that, and she could be anything, but certainly showing us the right things so far.
Yeah, and without getting too far, I mean, not to ask you to divulge anything that's, discretionary, but I am curious, can you share anything, regarding what a powwow session with Mike is in that setting? What that is like?
Maybe I'll pass. Maybe I'll pass on that. No, look, Mike's an opinionated guy, but he puts a lot of thought in all of
Yes.
this. He's an aggressive guy,
Yes.
um, and he's willing to take a shot. And Eric Gustafson, who I work for, um, I think likes the idea of taking a shot too. We're
Mhm.
in this to win major races. I think it's important to realize that horses there's windows of opportunities with
Yeah.
horses. They don't maintain the same form, day in, day out. So I think when they're coming around, it's worth it to try to take it advantage. But this was something that Mike's folks called up and said this is something we'd like to do, and we had no objections at all.
Love it. Was Ed Rosen part of that conversation? I love Ed Rosen.
Well, he probably was on the other end, but it was one of his people that related to her. So
Well, not only though do we have mythical in there, we also that again will likely be the morning line favorite to take on, but there's also your own stablemate, a homebred, Tommy Joe, and this filly. I gotta point out to those who may not know, when she won her debut, she did it in a faster time than the boys did that afternoon. There was a maiden special weight earlier on the card, Soldier and Diplomat. He went 111 and 87 100ths. She stopped the clock in 111 and 24 100ths. So that was already exciting. Since then, there have been 3 to run back, all of them in the money. There were 2 next out winners, and most notably, Tennessee Belle, the runner up. Tommy Joe had beaten her by 3 3/4 lengths. Well, Tennessee Belle came back to win a main special weight on August 16th at Saratoga by 7 1/4.
yeah,
So,
she
yeah.
was very, very impressive, and obviously all of that bodes very well for Tommy Joe and her future. And you know, right now she's showing us all the things uh, all the things that you hope to see um, in a quality horse. She's and really right from the very start, when we first watched her breeze down in Ocala, she had the rider was sort of bent in two, trying to contain her,
No.
and she just loves to run. She loves to get out there and do her thing. She trains really well. She's very honest filly, sweet filly to be around. But being a homebred is probably for us is the most exciting thing. I think there's in this game for me, there's nothing more gratifying than raising a nice horse and being able to take it and go win races. And so she's certainly seems to be coming in the right way. She's doing everything right. She's very professional. And so, fingers crossed. But it's a grade one at Saratoga. They don't give them away. So
That's for sure.
she'll have to have her running shoes on.
Well, she's already coming with the pedigree again, homebred by Into Mischief out of Mother Mother by Pioneer of the Nile. Mother Mother, she was a multiple stakes winner, multiple grade one placed as well, half sister to Derby runner up Commanding Curve. And this is the family of Met Mile winner and millionaire Proper Reality. So she's just got it all going for her.
She really does, and we love to try to acquire if we don't breed them ourselves, go out and acquire mares that could run, and we think that's they don't have to be uh, they don't necessarily have to be elite runners, but fillies that have demonstrated some athletic ability. We think there's a lot to that in terms of their uh, their chances of their potential for being a broodmare, and that's a formula that's worked pretty well for us over time, and seems to be working out in this case.
Well, again, you've got Steer Clear, Tommy Joe in the Grade 1 Spinaway, win, and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. The hopeful, we don't have the entries out for that yet, but I believe you're going to have 3 ready to go.
We're going to have parts of 3, 2 that we have 50-50 partners on, and then one who, I think you've heard of, that that we bought as a yearling last September out of the Keeneland September sale.
Let's save him for last. Let's talk about the other 2 first. Why don't we do that?
Okay.
Let's talk about Emphasis. This is another one that you own in partnership with Rapoli, son of Yapan, who stands there at Spendthrift. And I kind of love that too, because Yapan, you've got another Rapoli connection with him being a son of Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and then Yapan's out of a Vindication mare. Vindication won the Juvenile.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of, Grade 1 precocity right there that comes with this stallion.
Yeah, it really has. And that's, and certainly what you just outlined shows the potential, and then what the Alpons have been doing so far.
This is his first crop. Yeah.
Right. Their first crop this year, but already really dramatic returns. They've really, from the time they hit the ground, they've really looked the part. They're incredibly consistent. I don't think I've ever been around a stallion who stamps his offspring look-wise as much as consistently as Yapan does. And I joke that they're either all going to be able to run, or none of them are going to be able to run, because they all look very much the same. But so far, they've gotten off to an unbelievable start. This is another guy that we bought with Mike Rapoli at, I think we got this guy at Keeneland September last year. Nice looking colt, looks the part, and he's showed a lot of talent. He's kind of funny because he's not as obvious of a workhorse. He's maybe a little too smart for his own good. He's a little late. He's a little lazy. He doesn't blow you away in the mornings. But ran a great race in his first start, and looking for more of that here coming up.
I actually have the stretch replay of his victory, his debut win. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I'm pulling up the right one, because I have so many of these pulled up. Okay, here we go. Here he is. He's the 4-horse. They're in the Rapoli Silks Emphasis, which is a great name, by the way.
It is, and I think Mike named that one.
Oh, okay. He's good with the names. He is.
He is.
Fierceness, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly. But this guy,
mind frame.
Yeah, no, this guy really was game, though. Get out there and made a lot of the pace, and ran on beautifully. So pretty optimistic about what he's going to do moving forward.
Boy, you weren't joking about being in that model of Yapan, who's in the model of Uncle Mo. Let me see here. I actually have your Spendthrift website. Maybe I can go ahead and pop up Yapan's page for a minute, just so people can get a look-see at who we're talking about. Let's see here. There's Yapan. And Yapan, there he is. Let's see. I'll go ahead and share the screen, and then people can get a look at him. And by the way, everybody, just go to spendthrift.com if you want to check out any of the stallion roster there, or any news that's going on with these boys. But there he is.
Yeah, you see the Bill and Corinne Heilig colors there. That they bought him and campaigned him, and they were great to work with. We've done a number of stallion deals with them, and this guy's as good looking as any of them.
Right there, winning at Saratoga, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to make a better looking horse than Yapan.
Wow. And if you look at this, as you said, 3 stakes horses to date. Rising Star. I mean, look at the buyer figures that he had himself. I didn't know that was more than Nyquist. So you get all these fun factoids also, guys. I think some people think that stallion websites are only for those who are looking to breed. They're actually really good for handicapping resources as well, to get an idea of what these stallions are doing and who they're best pairing with. all that jazz.
Well, and putting that stuff together, our marketing team does a great job, and they're trying to put that information in there that's gonna that's gonna make an impression on somebody. Some little extra information that may separate our stallion from the competition. So there's a lot of great information and a lot of different uses for it.
Oh, definitely. And I should say, because I gave a lot of love to the stallion, I gotta give a little love to the mom as well. Emphasis is out of Grade One plays Connie and Michael by Roman Ruler. But yeah, that was a very nice debut win there back on July 19th. Now let's talk about another one that you own in partnership, Tappett's Legacy. This one by Tappett out of Peace Corps by Violence, who Todd also trained. Won on debut on July 27th. It was 7 furlongs in the slop because the race had come off the turf. Took it by 5 lengths. Mom, this is fun. We got the Prioris coming up on Saturday. His mom is a half sister to a Prioris winner in Her Smile. Won it when it was a Grade One. It's been sadly demoted. Oh, it makes it so hard on me. Like whenever I have to talk about races, I'm like, wait a second, was that when it was a Grade One or was it? Yeah. I keep changing it. But Her Smile, she was so good. She was also third in the Acorn and in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. But let's go ahead. I've got a replay of this stretch here for Tappett's Legacy.
Yeah, this was actually a really clever move on Todd's part. So he entered him for main track only. This was an off the turf race.
Yeah.
He was entered for main track only, and they came off the turf, and obviously he jumped in there and ran a really nice race, and you can see him.
Wow, he's big, huh?
Yeah, he's a big horse, and you can just see him kind of getting stronger as they go. And that probably ends up being a little softer spot than the other two colts had to contend with. But you can see, as you said, big horse, big long striding horse. But Todd commented that he's impressive the way this horse gets out of the gate, and we bought him out of a 2-year-old in training sale. So
Okay.
there's a certain degree of quickness and athleticism, particularly for a big horse to be able to breeze the way you need to breeze at a 2-year-old sale to make an impression. And he's kind of an interesting horse because he was a very, very inexpensive yearling, and I think this horse just had some issues as a foal that were really, by the time he got to a yearling sale, they were sort of more cosmetic type of issues. And so he was bought very, very inexpensively
Wow.
and pinhooked. And then we came along and bought him not quite so inexpensively. But, we did a lot of, scratching our heads trying to figure out, put it all together at the 2-year-old sale. Why was he so inexpensive? But he's a big, good-looking, athletic son of Tappett, and he jumped through all the hoops that we have, vetting and otherwise, and we decided to pull the trigger, and Epic Horses came along with us for the ride. We partnered with them, and so far so good. I think Todd feels like this guy's gonna be, the longer the better for him. So stretching out a little bit to 7's going to suit him, and probably stretching out even farther down the road suits him that much more. So
Oh, he looks like it. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
great big. Mike, we went over to watch the horses train one day, and my wife said something about, well, how are we going to know which one he is? And I said, just look for the biggest horse that goes by. and he is that. He's a great big colt, a lot of bone, huge shoulder on him. Again, he should love the longer distances, but again, it's impressive that he gets himself out of the gate the way he does as well. So.
Oh yeah, he again was very impressive there, and just one of 3 that you've got going there in the hopeful. This popped out, so I need to be able to hear you. There we go. Now we got to talk about. Well, I'll let this guy tell you who we need to talk about.
Well.
Michael Jordan chimed in when I had another guest on before talking about Jason Worth, but I don't think this is the real Michael Jordan. If it is, I apologize for doubting you. It was
Well,
actually pretty funny. He urged Jason to get a big gunrunner colt at the sale, and Jason was like, "Well, if you're the real Michael Jordan, I think you can do it."
yeah, I think he'd probably be able to scrounge the money together
Yeah, I don't think
to
it'd be
buy
too hard.
something.
But yeah, he says,
Well,
"What are your
that's
thoughts on Ted Noffey?" Yeah.
he's breezed really well. He's another horse that so we bought as a yearling last September to Keeneland September sale.
Mhm.
The interesting thing about him is into mischiefs. He's pretty consistent in the way he stamps his horses, and they usually are a bay with a fair amount of white on their face and some white socks or stockings.
Yeah.
And obviously, this guy is a gray or a roan, and I honestly think he wasn't an inexpensive horse. I think we paid $650,000 for him.
Oh, yeah, just
But I think we'd had to pay quite a bit more if he was marked more
Bay.
like the typical into mischief.
Yeah.
It sounds a little silly to say that there was a little bit of a discount there, but because he's a big, beautiful, classically
Yeah.
made horse, and as you can see, he's a very, very kind horse, good mind on him. And early on, Raul Reyes, who breaks our horses down at King's Equine down in Ocala, did a really nice job with this horse. And this horse showed pretty early on that there was a lot of quality there. It stood out in his breezes, the way just and his gallops, just the way he moves, the way he's able to do things. Uh, and he certainly looks like he's as solid as any of these colts. I'll say. I'm not sure if he's quite as good as Tommy Joe or not. I guess we're going to see as we go forward, but he certainly is very solid. And somebody asked me if I named him, and
Oh, yeah, no, you have to tell the story
I
because you did it on our
absolutely
AVR show. You have to do it here
yeah,
too.
I absolutely did not name him, nor would I ever name a horse after myself. But the story was I was interviewed by the Blood Horse, and they uh, in teasing the article that contained the interview, they went on Twitter and said, "Don't miss our upcoming issue with this, and an interview with Spendthrift's Ted Noffey." My daughter immediately tweeted back at them, "So close," and then she screenshotted it and sent it to my boss, who apparently said to himself, "I know what to do with this." So, unbeknownst to me, one day I was checking, workout results, and up pops Ted Noffey breezed in 47 and change or whatever it was, and I had no warning on this. I did not know this was coming. And but it's my boss, Eric Gustafson, and his wife Tamara Gustafson. Eric does a lot of the naming, and he's got a great sense of humor. He's had some fun and really good names of the horses over time. I don't know. I'll leave it to other people to decide whether this qualifies in that category or not. But he does a really good job of the naming, and he likes to have fun with it. And I consider it a compliment that they did that, and it was all done in fun. And he was very, they were excited to do it, and it was a nice compliment for me. And I will say the thing was unexpected for me. It's nice, people in the industry or people that know me at all, around the track have all been very quick to speak up and say how much they like it and got a kick out of it, and they're rooting for Ted Noffey and all that stuff. So that's been really fun and nice to hear from people. And look, my first goal was hopefully he could outrun me. He's shown he can do that. But obviously, look, when we buy any colt or breed almost any horse, it's related to our stud barn. It's either supporting our stallions, or it's done with the hopes of putting a horse into our stud barn down the road, and so that's the goal. So look, he's off to a great start. He's got a lot. He's got a lot to do to get to the stud barn. I'm not sure what kind of a name Ted Noffey is to market for a stallion.
It's gonna be so good.
I think any horse that runs well enough, they can make any kind of a name into a really good name. So, I'm excited about the talent and the potential that this colt has, regardless of what his name is. And again, that's the goal: get him to the stud barn, win major races, and it'll be a tough group in there. It's a grade one at Saratoga. Like I said, they're not giving him away. So he's going to have his running shoes on. But so far, he's done things the right way. Had a very nice breeze a few days ago at Saratoga, and happy with how he's doing. So we'll see what's going to happen.
I love it. So many similarities too. He seems to be kind, smart, tall, gray, nice hit. I mean,
Yeah, we're both that was my family's joke. We're both big and gray. I actually think we weigh about the same. And my family had a lot of fun too. They said he's out of an old fashioned mare,
yeah.
and I like to drink old fashioned. So they had a whole comedy routine going with it. But it's been fun for them, been fun for everybody involved. So.
And I've already got a name for one of his progeny. You just go with So Close.
There you go. There you go.
Get it? I don't know if it's available or not, but if it is, lock it down.
There you are. There you are.
But Ted Noffey, he did win his debut. We didn't even show that. He won the debut in 117 and 56 100ths. Why is this notable? Because Ewing won the Grade 2 Saratoga Special over Obliteration in 118 and 3 100ths on the same card. So, and I mean, that really should mean something. This was Ted Noffey's very first race ever. And it was actually pretty cool. Matt, Ava, and I were on our way to the track, and we actually saw Ted Noffey walk across from the barns to track side on our way there. And he was looking like a cool, calm customer. And
he really did I got a little bit of confidence in the paddock, because he really handled himself so well in there, and he seemed to be just taking everything in, wasn't intimidated at all, and just had a look about him that was very encouraging, and just his demeanor, again, the way he handled himself was very encouraging, and obviously they still got to go out there and do it, and he did.
Yeah, and just look at him. You can get a sense of the fact that this horse is competitive just by looking at him here. He seems to be well within himself. He understands the job.
Yeah.
And what was the feedback you got from Todd immediately after the race?
I think everyone was just basically having fun with the name.
How was the post interview? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was all a lot of fun. I think one of the things that impressed all of us is that this horse, he really tried in this race. He had to work to get by this other horse.
And the favorite was another Into Mischief, right?
Yeah, that had a start, and I believe had a start, and yeah, it was actually Taggermean, who, ironically, we were the underbidder on Taggermean at a 2-year-old in training sale.
Wow.
And he was a nice colt himself. He was an Into Mischief. I'm trying to remember. He's a full sister to a very good Into Mischief that Darley had a number of years ago, and I'm drawing a blank on her name now. I apologize, but he was a really nice horse as well. But we were, this is a crazy game, because when Mr. Hughes used to love to say, when you have luck in this game, you don't know till much later on whether it was good luck or bad luck. So we got outbid on him, and maybe that turned out to be good luck for us. But we'll see. Daggermain may come back and be very, very strong moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
But right now we're happy to have Ted Noffey. So
you got to run the races, right? And I believe that's also for the hopeful. We're going to see butane shipping in.
Yeah, and that's obviously obviously a pretty tough customer there. Like, seems to be.
Yes.
So
Are you a fan of
yeah,
the player?
I'm not familiar with them. So yeah, I'm sorry.
He's named for a baseball player.
Oh, I don't.
Um,
Yeah, I know very few baseball players. I follow sports other than Ohio State
Walker
football.
Bueller.
Oh, okay. Well, that now him I know. I didn't know that it was that it was. I didn't know you got butane from Bueller, but I guess it makes sense. But yeah, no, Walker's actually I had a nephew that played a little ball at Vanderbilt with Walker,
Really?
and he's yeah, a heck of a pitcher and a Lexington product.
I didn't
So
know that.
yeah, no, yeah, Walker's a Lexington boy. So yeah, I'm really remiss for not knowing that. But and he's had a great career. We're World Series pitcher and the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, it's going to be a tough bunch in there, and hopefully they'll have their running shoes. But I do want to say really quick. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the nice thing about this is that this is we've got five really promising 2-year-olds in 2 Grade 1 races coming up this weekend, and that's just such a credit to our team, both the people on the farm and our buying team that are out working the sales.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, Raul Reyes, who breaks most of these horses for us, and actually every one of these is trained by Todd Pletcher. We spread our horses. We spread our horses around. We used a lot of different trainers, but Todd's done a wonderful job with these guys, and it's been a really fun meet to have
Oh yeah.
so many horses run well, and hopefully we can finish it up the right way.
Well, that would be pretty awesome, undoubtedly. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the next thing up. I've had you for half an hour, so I'm gonna try to get the rest in here quick. Let's talk. We have to talk about Providence. I thought it was a really solid debut. I mean, this horse
Yeah.
made a very nice move considering the start was slow, a little bit of greenness. Talking about at Del Mar, this was on August 23rd, and Providence being by into mischief out of Monomoy Girl, the Monomoy Girl, who, by the way, I was there the night you guys bought her from the.
No, is that right?
Yes, and that was awesome.
Yeah, she's been really good for us so far. Had a couple of really nice intimate shifts on the ground so far for us, and this guy, very much looked the part, and we sent him out.
Oh, he'll come back in
That
a second.
Bob.
He'll be back in a second. This happens when the calls happen. I hear ya. See here. We'll wait a moment. There he is. Wait a second. There you are.
But yeah, we sent him out to Bob, and he's done a great job getting him ready, and he missed the break. Bob was a little disappointed and surprised that he
I've got the
didn't break
replay
better, because he
here.
said he's shown a lot of speed. But you did see that glimpse there where he rushed up and
Oh yeah.
put himself into contention and looked really good there, and just flattened out.
No, and the thing also, wait, do I have it on the? I don't have the. Wait a second. Yeah, this is it. This is the replay of that race, and yeah, he's the 3-horse there, and he goes wide. So not only do we have a bit of a slow break, but there was a little bit of greenness, but you can tell this horse is game, super game. And I should have mentioned, when we were watching Tommy Joe, by the way, she got slammed out of the gate on top of everything else. I forgot to mention that. So, can you hear me, Ned? Let's see here. Just making sure Ned can hear me. Ned, can you hear me? I don't know. I don't think he can hear me. I'm going to text to make sure. Can you hear me? Let's see. Let me see. I'm going to text. But in any case, right here is the big move that Providence makes. And see here. I think Ned's trying to come back in again, and then we'll be good. And so as you see right here, he's still trying, but he's on the wrong lead. And there we go. There we switched off to the correct lead. So considering everything, I think this was still a very solid debut, and we'll see if we can get Ned back in here. Let's see. I'll do that while there he is. Okay.
My apologies.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. I talked through the replay. I said it was a really solid debut. I said in addition to that start where he was a little bit slow from the blocks, he was a little bit wide, a little bit green. He made that big move there heading into the turn for home, and then in stretch, didn't quite get to that lead change until late. And all in all, I still thought it was a solid debut, but I had also mentioned, because I was remiss, I should give her some love. Tommy Joe, on top of everything else, she had gotten knocked out of the gate, and I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, she did have a little bit of a troubled trip. I said to Todd afterwards, if she had finished second or third, we'd have been talking about those as legitimate excuses. She got her kind of hind end knocked out from beneath her coming out, and then got in behind horses, but didn't really seem to be bothered by that. And when Johnny swung her out, she just sort of took off, and I think Johnny just had to sort of hold on. But that's really when she sort of exploded there, and you saw that great move she made. And this colt obviously showed some real natural speed there, the way he moved forward. Bob commented that the horse probably could have been a little tighter. He's still got some baby fat on him. This is maybe trying to put as positive a spin on that race as I can. But, it did remind me a little bit of Beholder's first.
Oh my gosh! I thought the same thing, but I didn't want it.
Richard Mandela said to me after her first start, he said, I cinched up the girth in the paddock, and I thought, geez, maybe I should have breezed her another time or two. She still had a little belly on her, and Bob had a similar comment that he's still just kind of baby fattish and still got to tighten up a little bit more. And she made a great move in her first start where she ranged up on executive privilege, and then executive privilege just drew off and won very impressively. And I think Beholder was fourth in that start, and obviously turned things around on executive privilege by the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Yeah. So, you always got to look for the positive, and that's the spin that I'm putting on that first start.
I think there was still lots to like, and there's a lot of pressure though too. I mean, not only are you a son of intermission, but you're at a Monomoy girl. You won the Kentucky Oaks and won 2 editions of the Breeders' Cup Distaff, Eclipse Award winner. Older dirt female champion, 3-year-old filly. There's pressure because so often when a great mare goes to the barn, we're always expecting that they can recreate themselves, but they don't get the same amount of opportunities as the studs do, right?
No, but absolutely. And I a lot of people go on about that subject, and I feel a little bit differently. And you just touched on it. The mares don't get the same opportunity that the stallions do. And if a mare has 10 or 12 foals in her lifetime, that's a pretty fair number. Can you imagine if we gave up on a stallion after his 12th foal?
No.
They're getting 100 or more in a single crop. And the fact of the matter is that most mares are probably, and most stallions are not going to be successful. They're not going to have the level of success that we're hoping for. So, and the pool of mares that are really elite, like a Monomoy girl, that's a very small pool. So it's very, very hard to make judgments about that small of a pool of frankly, anything.
Well, I love that you bred her to Into Mischief. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer given his sire prowess, but also because I hope people do remember he's a half-brother not only to Mendelssohn, but to Beholder, Hall of Famer Beholder. And Beholder is a daughter of Henny Hughes. Well, Monomoy Girls, she's by Dirt Mile winner Tapazar out of Dramette by Henny Hughes. So you're kind of bringing in those genes again.
Right. Yeah, no, there there was a lot, other than sort of the obvious, it's the old adage of breed the best of the best and
Hmm.
hope for the best.
You're right.
So from that standpoint, it was maybe a little bit of a no-brainer. But there was also some things to like there in the pedigree that kind of made you feel that much better about the mating. And this is a big, good-looking colt. So we'll see. She's off to a good start.
And it's actually kind of fun though, in that race, um, the Into Mischief genetics were completely on display. The actual winner, Intrepido, by Maximus Mischief, rather,
Mhm.
son of
Mhm.
Into Mischief.
Right.
Runner-up, Plutarch, at a stellar win by Into Mischief. So you still see these genes kicking on
Yeah, he's into
there.
mischief.
Well,
I don't know what else we can say about into mischief. He's just a remarkable
it's
stallion.
ridiculous. Like,
The stat I love, and I've said this before, and I actually even may have misquoted it last year, but he's he's well on his way. I think he's got an insurmountable lead right now for leading sire. He's $8 million. He's got $18 million in earnings, 18 or 19, and the next horse is about 10 or 11.
yeah.
So he has pretty much an insurmountable lead right now. Um, and so that'll be 7 years in a row as leading a general sire, and that hadn't been done since Bold Ruler,
Yes.
and the last time was done before that was Lexington. So you go back to the 1960s and then the 1870s since another stallion had done something like Into Mischief. So he's pretty remarkable horse.
It is so remarkable. I mean, just looking at this weekend alone, Patch Adams, he won the H. Allen Jerkins, and right there we saw another Into Mischief trifecta because you had Captain Cook, who was second. He's by Practical Joke, and Practical Joke is a son of Into Mischief. Barnes was third. He's by Into Mischief. And the thing with Patch Adams also that I feel is noteworthy is he's bred on the same really potent. I mean, Into Mischief seems to go with everybody, but there's also a very potent cross between him and Distorted Humor. And we've seen this with Practical Joke. We've seen this with Life is Good, Sis and Bull, Tapan Street, among others.
Yeah. No, it's worked really well, and you're right. It's remarkable how many horses he does work well with, but Distorted Humor and Spikes Down are two that really from the earliest stages of his career have always jumped out, and they continue to work, and but again, he seems to work well with almost anything.
Oh my gosh.
He's really a remarkable horse, and thrilled that he's in our barn.
I mean, just to look at it here, you had, and I'm going to work myself to the big one. Iron Dome out of a Spitestown mare won the Albany. Yeah, again, Patch Adams out of a Distorted Humor mare won the H. Allen Jerkins. And then, of course, Sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the Midsummer Derby out of the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont and the Jim Dandy. And he's out of a Bernardini mare.
Yeah, and that's that one's worked as well too. But that'll be the next popular one that everybody wants to try. But he's a remarkable horse, and of course Darley had told a great story about the filly Jane Grey, who was a full sister to Sovereignty, and didn't have the career obviously that Sovereignty's had, but showed so much potential that's what caused them to breed that mare back to Into Mischief, even after his stud fee had gone up and was dramatically higher than when Jane Grey was actually bred. But it so they made that decision, took that shot, and they obviously were rewarded in the form of Sovereignty. So worked out well for them.
And how cool is that, though? Into Mischief, he gets you any type of horse.
He really does. Big, small, sprinting, staying. They run well on turf, on dirt. I think they'd be happy to run in the parking lot. They're they're willing, they try, they're consistent. And and he gets, because I think the remarkable thing, and one of the reasons that his earnings are so high. Yes, he breeds a lot of mares, but he gets you the spectacular horses, the
Yeah.
sovereignties, the life is goods, all the authentics.
Authentics, yeah.
But he also, he's a very consistent horse.
Yeah.
There's very, very few of his offspring that aren't in some way capable. And some stallions get this they're sort of feast or famine. They get you get the home run or you strike out. Into Mischief is really consistent. He gets you the home run, but he's likely to get you a single and a double as well.
I love that you put it that way.
And so he, just remarkable. And again, it's been incredible to watch his career unfold, and an honor to have played some role. Although I don't think it had much to do with the people around him. It's just the horse.
How soon is he booked up year after year? I'd have to
He
imagine.
actually, because of stuff, he's $250,000.
Which the success he's had makes 250,000 sound like a bargain. That's so crazy to say, but it
Yeah, but because some other really good stallions have emerged, and then he's actually cannibalized himself a little bit. People have said, let's go to authentic in years past, or let's go to Life is Good. So there's sons of Into Mischief, if people want to be a little more price sensitive, that they've been able to use. And then there's some other really good high end options. So actually his, over the last few years, his numbers have come down a little bit in terms of the number of mares that he breeds. So he hasn't actually filled up the last few years. And he is a remarkable horse because he can breed a big book really rather easily. He bred about 170 mares last year, which is a lot for a lot of stallions. But for him is relatively easy, and he's a great horse to be around. Very kind, very intelligent. The only time he's difficult is when other stallions go to the breeding shed and he doesn't get to go. He does not like it, and he will let you hear about it. And
oh my.
so he likes his job. He's good at it, and I think the market has really kind of taken care of the book size. So he's kind of come down from that 200 range, and that makes sense because he's 20 years old now, and
That's
you
crazy. He does not
want to
look
push
at
a
all.
horse. When pushing a horse is different for every stallion, but 170 is an easy number for him to breed, and that's what he bred last year. And we'll see how things go this year. Probably be a little bit lower than that. But he does his job. He doesn't owe us anything. So we very much are able to just see what he and every house down at Spendthrift, what they're able to manage, what they're able to handle, and sort of structure their book accordingly. And but again, he's been a great. He's been a huge asset, and it may be the understatement of the century, but huge asset for us at Spendthrift.
I'm gonna start to wrap things up here. I don't want other people to think I'm ignoring them on the side. We have a few comments here. Dennis is saying hello. This looks like Rougeau, but Jay says hello, Ned and Ren. And he actually has some questions for you. He says two things. You'll like this question. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to comment myself. He says, Ned, do you like the college playoff system? Which I know you know a lot about.
I assume we're talking about football. I would say the only thing that I do like it. The only thing that I don't like about it is what you're already starting to see happen is rumblings of it getting bigger. And I've thought that as soon as they went to a playoff system, they would just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And of course, the NCAA basketball, 64 wasn't even enough for them. They had to have some play-in games over and above 64. And you're already seeing the number creep up every year, or almost every year, on the college football playoff. So I think they should be able to come up with an appropriate number, draw a line, and stick to it. But if that's the case, then yeah, I like it.
I'll go with whatever you said, Ned. He also says, good luck with the equines. I asked for you if I ever come to the if you can see horses. He says, how's Beholder doing?
But Beholder's doing great.
National treasure, right?
We bred her to National Treasure. You know, we never did quite pull the trigger on breeding her to Quality Road, but it was always a really good mating on paper.
Yeah.
And we've kind of honestly bounced around a lot with the matings on Beholder. We've bred her to some of the bluest blooded horses around, and it hasn't always yielded the best results. We do have a very promising 3-year-old by Curlin, but there was a full sister to him that couldn't run. The first foal by Uncle Mo is now a show horse. And then her best was by Bolt d'Oro, who stands for us here at Spendthrift, and certainly a wonderful stallion. But people would put him in a different category than the Curlins and the Warfronts and the Uncle Mo's of the world. So she's actually had some really good results when we've bred her a little bit differently. And frankly, over the years, we've had some luck along those lines. We had a very good mare years ago. We bred her to every major stand there was. And when we dropped her down and sort of, quote unquote, demoted her and dropped her down and bred her to Tis Wonderful, who was $12,500 at the time, she produced a grade 1 winner. So we've not been afraid to do a little of that, but she does have a full, sound like I'm contradicting myself, but she does have a foal by Gunrunner this year.
Yes.
The yearling is by Jackie's Warrior, and that's arguably the best looking foal that she's ever had.
Wow.
It's a really striking yearling.
Named already?
Not named yet, but that'll stay right here in our program. Get down to Ocala this fall and get broken and race for us and come back and be a broodmare for us. Big, beautiful filly by Jackie's Warrior. Again, went to Gunrunner and have a very, very nice Gunrunner foal.
Oh, I know.
And then went back to National Treasure. And again, that was such an interesting mating on paper that we decided to take a shot, even though it's a shade unorthodox. But looking forward to see what that'll do for us.
Gosh, I kept you way longer. You mentioned Bolt d'Oro. I gotta ask real quickly. How's Bourbon and Ginger one first out?
Doing really well.
Belmar debutante?
Possibly, yeah. But we'll see how she's doing. Richard's been happy with her. Yes. She's a quick filly, and we'll see. We've got a Hall of Fame trainer that yes. we trust to make those calls, and
all Hall of Fame trainers.
Yeah.
Across the board,
we're fortunate to be involved with some good people.
Steph says, do they have a name for the Into Mischief? I'm a Chatterbox yearling. Love him.
Well, no, but there is not yet. Although a funny story, my youngest daughter asked if they were ever going to name a horse after her, and she said, "Well, they kind of do. I'm a Chatterbox." And one of the good names that Eric's come up. So the I'm a Chatterbox full sibling, who's 2 and has started once, is named Bad Manners. So Into Mischief out of I'm a Chatterbox, and
that's
named
great.
It Bad Manners. So I thought that was a good name. But we've not named the colt yet, but he's really exciting. Horse. We bought our partner out in the ring up in Saratoga, and beautiful horse. A lot of people were very interested in him, but we decided we wanted to keep him and go on. So he won't get named until probably next spring.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Now, I do want to mention, I can tie it in this way. We talked so much about Into Mischief and his prepotency. And one of the cool things with Into Mischief is whenever you do breed to Into Mischief, you also get, even though he's a Northern Dancer sire line stallion, in that sire line, you've got Stormcat. And let's remember Stormcat out of Terlingua by Secretariat. And so you always get a dose of Secretariat in the genes with Into Mischief. And I have to mention that Ron Turcotte passed away this weekend. And it's very sad. He was a great ambassador for the sport. I actually am going to pop up his Hall of Fame page here, which you all can check out the racingmuseum.org website. But of course, Ron Turcotte, he rode some of the greats. Of course, Secretariat always comes to mind first. He actually rode Northern Dancer on debut and to a stakes win, and he rode Damascus and some other great horses as well. But of course, it's that connection with Secretariat we all remember, because I don't know about you, the Belmont Stakes, just getting that Triple Crown nailed down in that fashion is, to me, the greatest moment in all of sports.
Yeah, I agree. That was pretty special, and um, one of the great race calls of all time too. And there's a lot of great calls in sports history. Al Michaels with the 1980 U.S. hockey team. Do you believe in miracles? And
Yeah.
the Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant, which you'll have to ask your husband about. But that's when Bobby Thompson hit a home run a very long time ago to win the pennant for the Giants. Um, uh, but moving like a tremendous machine is maybe as great a sports phrase as there is, but Ron Turcotte's role and all that. I always was so impressed with his humility, and he said, look, he took no credit. He was along for the ride, but he was a wonderful horse, and he was a passenger, and so he was very humble about his role. But I think he did obviously a wonderful job with the horse, and gave us all of us some of the most memorable moments in racing, and even and as you said, in sports history. And I was a kid. I was 10 years old, 10 years old when that was going on, and that's some of the stuff that helped set the hook for me in racing, and yeah, pretty special stuff.
And for him to have also taken the Triple Crown Secretariat just on the heels of the year prior with Riva Ridge taking 2 legs of it.
Mhm.
That was a lot of people forget Riva.
Yeah, five out of 6 is not a bad,
No,
not a bad little run.
no, and I mean that's the horse credited with getting Meadow
Mhm.
stable up. But so about Ron also, I really urge people not only check out the Hall of Fame entry there for him, but if you go to secretariat.com, and you'll see here where it says Ron Turcotte, 1941 to 2025. You can go to learn more. And not only is there a press release regarding his life and passing, there's also a spot where you can click to share your condolences. So again, that is at secretariat.com. Ron Turcotte, an absolute legend. I had the pleasure of meeting him on a couple of occasions, and he could not have been nicer. And as you said, the humility that he had, where he really wanted the horses to shine. Remarkable. It was very sad to hear that news. But there's always the fans that we keep his memory alive. And a way that I feel would be fitting to end this show, especially with it being Hopeful Weekend, is to show Ron Turcotte with Secretariat winning the 1972 edition of the Hopeful Stakes. And that's where we'll wrap it up. I do want to make mention to you all watching, when I do play this replay, don't think there's anything wrong with your audio. For whatever reason, there's no actual call on this replay, but I think you'll enjoy it nonetheless. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Ned, thank you so much for your time. We're so excited about all of these horses, and we're hoping that we see Into Mischief and the rest of the boys there at Spendthrift just keep knocking it out of the park.
Thanks very much, Ren. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Everybody, this has been your Future Stars Forecast on a 2-year-old Tuesday. Let's talk about one of the greats, Secretariat, the 1972 hopeful. We all know how great he became, the GOAT.